Hey everyone, I'm Chef Zee and welcome back to my channel, Chef Zee Cooks. We are back today with another exciting live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining us during your lunchtime. I know it's 1 p.m., it's a little bit different. Usually we do these live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m., but I did have to switch it up just for this week, simply because we had some family engagements that we had to attend to last night. Now, if you are a regular here on live streams, you know that I do like to give people just a couple of minutes to show up, especially today because it is at a little bit of an odd time. We're a little bit earlier, and hopefully a ton of you guys can make it. So I just want to give everyone just a couple of minutes to join in on the fun. Now, I'm curious to know what everyone is doing this weekend, so feel free to comment in the group chat. And I see that we actually have a couple of comments already. We have Erisarda, sorry if I did not say that right. Hi from Lynn, Massachusetts. What's going on? I have family in Massachusetts, and are you guys also dealing with a crazy heat wave? More about that in a little bit because it is, whoo, heat is crazy today. Well, it's been all week. We have CG Pipeline, much love from Brooklyn. Hey, what's going on? My husband's from Brooklyn. We have Jahida. I'm at work waiting for the live stream to start. Woo, thank you so much for the dedication and the commitment. That truly, truly means the world to me. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it has been so hot this week. We're actually in the middle of a heat wave. As a matter of fact, I feel like the world is in the middle of a heat wave because I know the UK is also going through it. And we have a couple of the Chef Zee family that actually joins us in over from Europe. And I know that this week has also been pretty brutal for them as well. Honestly, I don't think that my hair has come down from this moño all week. So shout out to Moño Life because it's way too hot to have my hair down, especially during these live streams. Now, we've had a ton of fun the last couple of weeks on the live streams. You guys have seen me make some amazing meals. I've had a couple of struggle moments, some technical difficulties, although, you know, knock on wood, we haven't had some technical difficulties in a while, which is awesome because it means that I'm able to just elaborate more and more and give you guys all the different angles with the stuff that I'm cooking. Oh, we have so many people who just joined us. Here we have Pablo, New York. Hello from the Bronx. What's going on? We have Edward Vargas. Hey, thank you for joining us. Lewis, staying cool this weekend. Listen, I hear you. I 100% hear you. I have very sensitive skin and I break out in heat rashes like really, really quickly. So I spend literally, if I go outside like in the middle of the day, I either have like a long sleeve shirt or a cardigan on just to like kind of protect myself because it is so, so brutal. We have just Nazari. She says, oh, they say, sorry, I don't know. Girl, I think it's a girl. I can see, yes. I can see your profile picture. You look pretty, hey. Said, hey, Z, hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm ready for some ceviche. Listen, I'm ready for some ceviche too. The weather is absolutely perfect. I'll be honest, I was not in the mood to just be sweating during today's live stream. So I was like, you know, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to do something that's just like easy on the skin, easy on the house, because as you guys know, I do have to turn off my AC when I'm doing these live streams, and I felt like this is the perfect dish for today and for this weather. We have Lizette from New Jersey. What's going on? I'll actually be in Jersey next weekend, right? Yes, I'll be in Jersey next weekend. We have Mirna. Hey girl, just the title has me drooling. I love that we have some ceviche fans. Like, seafood is definitely one of my favorites. We have Liz from Kentucky. What is going on? I think it's funny. I think my husband went on a bachelor trip to Kentucky. I think it was like 3 years. Oh, no, 3 years. 3 years. 3 years ago. Funny story. I'll make it quick. So he went to Kentucky for a bachelor weekend, and he went on the Bourbon Trail. And when he left with like just a little carry-on. And when he came back and I'm picking him up at the airport, he's like, hey babe, I'm going to be a while. Because he actually came back with a checked bag because he came back with so much bourbon. He actually had to buy a suitcase to put it in. And it's funny because I think we're still enjoying that bourbon to this day. All right, we have so many people. We have Edward, I'm here, more people from Jersey. Thank you guys so much for showing up. So it's been a couple of minutes and I think it's time for us to get started. We do have a very fun and just refreshing recipe for today. So today we're going to be making some shrimp avocado ceviche. It's actually one of my favorite ceviches to make because it's just super easy to make. It's perfect for a barbecue, and if you are damn in the middle of the summer like we are right now, where the heat is unbearable, the humidity just like sticks on you, this is the perfect dish. It's great for a barbecue. I actually serve this up as an appetizer, and I also, any leftovers, I almost serve it as like a cold salad because it's great to drizzle over a little bit on your pasta salad. It's just that refreshing, super easy to make. All of the ingredients we're going to be using is fresh. Now I do have the recipe listed right here. It's on right here. Hey! I do have the recipe listed right here. It's also listed down below in the description box. I do have the recipe on my website as well. Now looking for you guys, I also have a dedicated video on how to make some if you're not a fan of how long these live streams are and how much I may talk, listen, I have a much shorter version of those videos that just is about the food, breaks down the recipe step by step. These live streams are a way for me to kick it with you guys and just to go into a little bit more detail about the video that I may not necessarily go to in some of those dedicated videos. Now, what are we doing today? So here I have some good old wild caught shrimp. Now, for the shrimp today, they are raw, and I actually bought them frozen, but I defrosted them before the live stream. These are actually medium, but you can use large shrimp, you can use jumbo or colossal. Honestly, I think for ceviche, you can just use some medium or large shrimp. That's totally fine. I personally always like to use some wild-caught shrimp that are responsibly raised. I tend to stay away from the farm-raised stuff in general with any of the seafood that I typically get because sometimes they can be filled with some not so good things depending on how they're farmed. Now, these live streams are all about me spilling the tea, and a lot of times I get questions about like, Z, where do you buy your free range this and your grass fed that? And in today's case, where do I typically get my wild caught shrimp? Well, that's actually pretty easy. Costco and BJ's, funny enough, are some of my favorite places to buy some wild caught anything. They typically have a really good selection of some wild caught shrimp and seafood in general, and then also just like the local like fish stores. Even though I don't know about you guys, comment in the group chat, I feel like growing up there were a lot more mom and pop butcheries and fish stores than there are today, and which is a shame because I do remember being younger and having to go with my aunt and my grandmother to the stores to like source some of the protein for dinner. I just want to take a quick look at the group chat here. So we have, so Eddie Saida says, this is how you pronounce my name. Eddie Saida. I hope I said that right, or Eddie Saida. Sorry if I butchered it for a second time. We have Flor, hello from Miami, love your vlogs, thank you. We have someone from upstate New York. So I love this comment. So someone said, these lives makes me feel like we're homies, but en serio, it shows me every detail, the little details like colors that are often edited out. And yes, number one, we are homies. Okay, that's why we call the live chat the group chat, because at this point we're family. And again, I get to explain things in a little bit more detail that I may not necessarily do so in some of my regular videos. So we're just going to jump into today's recipe, and I will, that could have been bad. So as we're cooking, I'm also going to be keeping up with the comments. So ceviche typically is done, you just take like the raw shrimp, you cut up your veggies, you add a ton of acid, and you're done. I like to make my ceviche a little bit differently. I don't know about you guys, but I have a Hispanic family that are not fans of sushi, so they're not fans of like raw anything, especially raw fish. So I like to go like the extra step, and I actually make my ceviche by poaching it in like some lemon water, almost like a lemon tea. And this is actually the way that you make shrimp cocktail. So I have combined the way that you make shrimp cocktail and just added it to the way that I like to make my ceviche, and it's actually a really huge hit. So I'm gonna walk on over to the stove. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this lemon tea situation that I have going on, and then we're going to actually poach the shrimp, and hopefully this becomes one of your favorite ways of making ceviche. So here we go. Okay, so here we have just some water that I've actually been warming up over medium flame. Now, it's really important that you actually warm this up over a medium flame. You don't want it to come to a boil. You want to let this kind of steep for about 20 to 30 minutes because we really want to extract all of the flavor from the fresh lemon, especially the exterior, which has all the nice oils. Now you see the bubbles in the water right there, and that's how you know that the water is really nice and hot. Again, I don't want this to really come to a roaring boil. That's why I almost call it like essentially like a lemon tea. And we're just going to poach the shrimp just until it cooks, and then we're going to take it out as soon as they begin to change color. So I'm just going to add the shrimp, and the shrimp will change color almost immediately. Now we don't want to overcook the shrimp because the shrimp is actually going to finish cooking once we add all of the juicy lime and all of the acids in it as well, which lime, by the way, is an acid. It's similar to like almost like a vinegar. So I just added the shrimp. By the way, the shrimp is clean and deveined. And literally, like, you don't even want to like leave here too long because as you can see, they're already starting to change color just a little bit. And we just want to get the cooking process started. Oh, look at that. They're like pretty much ready to come out. Look at that. All right, I'm just gonna grab a clean bowl. Just give me a quick second because I'm actually going to now take these out. That's how quickly the shrimp poaches. It's all of like 2 minutes because it's as soon as this change color, we're taking them right out. Yeah, and as you can see, they were gray when they went in, and now they have a nice little orangey color, so I'm gonna take them out. I'm going to take them out, and then I'm going to set them off to the side because we're actually going to dice them up a little bit later. But before we dice them up, I want to get my onions and my peppers going. So I'm just taking them out. And it's really important, again, you do not want to overcook them because then they get rubbery, and rubbery shrimp at any dish is just, no, not something that you want. And I think a lot of people like, and it's okay if I grab some of the lemon, honestly. I'm just trying to fish out the shrimp as quickly as possible before they overcook. So if a few lemons come into the process, that's totally fine. All right. So I'm just going to turn this off. All right. So I poached the shrimp. As you can see, that took all of like 2 minutes. Now, here you see that the color has changed just a little bit. It looks amazing. And I'm actually just gonna go ahead, you know what, while I'm here, I'm actually gonna go ahead and I'm actually going to start dicing the shrimp. And you can do this in any which order. I was like, you know what, I actually want to do this a little bit first. I want to see what you guys are talking about. So Josie said that you messed up and you bought cooked shrimp. Oh, I am so sorry, my dear. Just in general, I never buy cooked shrimp because as you can see, this is how quickly it takes to cook your own shrimp and to essentially poach them yourself. So, Mi Vida Bellísima says, this is such an important one to see live. This step is impossible to recreate just by explanation. I have to see exactly what the shrimp look like. And I'm really happy that this helps. Now, pretty much what I'm doing right now is I'm just cutting the shrimp up into small pieces. And they are perfectly cooked. Like, you can honestly eat them like this. And this is also like a great step to do if you're in a little bit of a rush in making ceviche, because some people, they just don't trust that it's going to cure completely with all the citrus and all the acids, which it will. But again, this is just like a little extra step that I like to do. And as you can see, it took no time. It honestly takes longer for the water to warm up with the lemon than it does to actually poach the shrimp. So someone says, so we have Sharon that says, I've made this recipe many times and it's one of my favorites. Thank you so much for making it. That truly means the world. Now, I should mention that with the shrimp, I did take off the tails because it's not necessary in a ceviche. It's quite the opposite. You want it completely clean and completely deveined and take the tails off. And I should mention too that you can use whatever size shrimp that you want, but it's absolutely important that you go the extra step and you make sure that the shrimp is clean. Even if the package says that they're clean, when you're defrosting it, just inspect every single one of them, make sure that it's clean. And if you have to rip off the tail a little bit more, because sometimes some of the goo gets stuck in there, for free to do it, because honestly it's just not appetizing to serve ceviche when it's not all the way clean. As you guys can see, I am using a glove to dice up the shrimp, and that's just because I just don't want my fingers to smell like seafood for the rest of the day. I'm very particular when it comes to smells, if you guys haven't already noticed. That's a little bit of like an inside joke here on my channel. Let's see what you guys are saying. We have Maria who says, I buy jumbo shrimp all the time from the supermarket, but when I cook them, they cook down to nothing. Does that ever happen to you? Absolutely. That happens to me all the time. That's just like the nature of shrimp. As you can see, even these shrimps like cook down to essentially nothing. And that's just in general, that's something to expect whenever you are making some shrimp. And like honestly, the same goes when you're making veggies. Like spinach is one of the other ones that you can buy a whole bag, and once you start to saute it, it like turns into absolutely nothing. So I'm just now going to take my cooked shrimp and I'm going to transfer it over to the bowl where we're going to start mixing our ceviche. Now the other thing that you can do if you want this to like slow down the cooking process is you can actually shock it with a little bit of ice water and put it in an ice bath, and that will help just a little bit. All right, so just getting my smaller knife. So I'm gonna now start cutting up the onions and the veggies, and this is arguably one of the most important things for this whole entire dish because this is going to give it some really awesome flavor. I just want to see what else you guys are saying here. Yeah, so GLD and Glow, Golden Glow. Oh, Golden Glow, there we go. Ah, it says yes, we don't have fishmongers anymore, for sure, for sure. And Lisette says, I used to go to the Vivero on 207. Oh my God, talk about something that I used to hate doing was going to the Vivero, but now I wouldn't mind having access to one since there's no longer any around. So now I'm just cutting up some bell peppers, and for this I like to cut them up really, really small. And I also like to use a variety of different colors because the majority of this dish is all about vibrancy. So wherever you can add color is definitely a must. So I like to cut them kind of skinny and then cut them small. So today I'm using a variety of red peppers, green peppers, and an orange pepper, again, just for some color. So I'm just chopping this up. And honestly, with this, you can actually eyeball the amount of onions and peppers that you add. I typically use about a quarter of each one. So now I'm just gonna add this to the bowl where I have the shrimp. Let me actually, because I don't know if you guys can even see my bowl. Babe, let me know. Let me know when. I want to make sure that they can see everything. So are we in frame here? Nice, that's what we're talking about. Okay. So now I'm going to take the green pepper, and fun fact, this is the green pepper that I actually had left over from the salami guisado. Now if you guys notice, I'm using two different knives. I'm using the small one, like my small paring knife, just to cut a piece in the clean section of my cutting board. And the reason for that is I don't want the leftover piece of the peppers to taste like seafood in case I use them later, not in case, but when I use them later on for a dish that's not for seafood. I don't want it to be essentially, I don't want it to have that flavor. So I'm keeping this knife off to a side, and I'm also making sure that I'm keeping track of this section of my cutting board that doesn't have any seafood. Now, really important for you guys to know, especially, and this is something that happens all the time, but if you are making this for a barbecue and you know that somebody who has a shellfish allergy is going to be attending, I would actually recommend that you not do what I'm doing right now, just because I cannot guarantee that this isn't touching part of the shrimp. Obviously, I'm using the same cutting board. So one of the things that you can definitely do is cut the onions and the peppers ahead of time and make sure that you cut the shrimp last. But for example, I know that we're going to be having a couple of people over, and no one who's attending has a seafood allergy, but if they were, I wouldn't serve them anything with these onions and peppers. So that's one of the things I feel like people kind of don't keep track of unless you work in food service is cross-contamination with seafood allergies, pork restrictions, and even nut allergies is something that I'm always like mindful of. So this would be something like, for example, where's my little trash bowl? This would be something like, for example, again, like if I did have a guest who was attending and they're like, hey, I have a seafood allergy, then I'd know, like, well, this batch that I made today and anything that touched this like cutting board, I'd tell them, hey, off limits, even if it doesn't have seafood directly in it. So that's just like a little fun tidbit for you guys, because I find that a lot of errors tend to happen during grilling season. So I'm just chopping up the peppers. Now these are my red peppers, which are a little bit sweeter than the green peppers. And as you can see, all of those colors are already coming alive. So I'm just now going to transfer this over. We have Tiger Lily who says, I'm totally trying to watch you cook while working. Oh my goodness, you guys are the best. I hope you don't get in trouble. I don't want to get you guys in trouble. We have Sharon that says, I remember that rookie mistake. We have Golden Glow. Once one of the chefs on Top Chef bought cooked shrimp, he got roasted for it. Oh yeah, cooked shrimp, you know, not really the best. But it's definitely okay if you buy cooked shrimp. So it's definitely okay if you buy a cooked shrimp. It's definitely not the end of the world. You just really have to know how to work with it. So for example, if you're going to be using cooked shrimp, you can totally use it, like for example, in a salad, or you're just not going to be adding any extra heat. So while raw shrimp is definitely preferred over cooked shrimp, I also don't want to like completely villainize cooked shrimp and make it seem like, you know what, you bought cooked shrimp, that's it, day's over, cancel the day. No, it's really okay. Like, it's totally okay. So here I have a red onion. I actually prefer to use red onions over white onions in my ceviche, A, because of the color, and B, because of the flavor. Me personally, I find that it has a little bit of a milder flavor than, say, the white onion. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this is a big boy. I'm not going to use this whole entire onion. I'm just going to use half of it because this would be just way too much. So again, with my clean knife on the clean section of my cutting board, I'm just going to cut it in half. And then the piece that I'm not using, I'm just going to set over to the side. All right, and now we're just going to start chopping this up. And like I always like to say, this is the root of the onion. We're going to keep this part intact, but we're going to cut away this side, and I'll show you guys in a bit. So here we go. I'm going to take, hold on, I'm trying to get you guys some angles. All right, so we're going to take this half here, and we're just going to cut it off. Oh, come on. Oh, that looks beautiful. I feel like sometimes you cut into an onion these days, especially when it's hot and you don't know what to expect. So whether the inside is going to be rotten or not. So now here we have like the exterior layer. You definitely want to peel this away. One of my pet peeves is when you get served onions where the person cooking hasn't gone through the trouble of peeling this off. Please just take that away. Take it away. You don't need it. It's not fun to eat. And now again, because I do want to cut this into some smaller pieces, I'm going to cut like at an angle, keeping the root intact. And I want to cut just until I get to the root. And again, this is how you control how thin or how thick you want your pieces are, depending on how thick these cuts and these slits that you make right here. Now it's funny because some people ask, they like assume that I'm using like a mandolin slicer to get my onions like perfectly diced. And no, it's just these little tricks right here. I do prefer to use a chef knife. I like to use the tip. I feel like it's better for this. Now, if you're not comfortable using such a big knife, you definitely can use a smaller knife. Let me just grab one to show you. So here's a utility knife, which is a little bit smaller. You can also use your handy dandy paring knife. So it really comes down to which knife feels most comfortable in your hand. If you guys have noticed, I'm not one of those people that tells you like you must use this knife or that knife. Use the knife that you feel most comfortable in your hand, because ultimately it's your safety. So I'm just gonna now, just to show you guys the example, I'm gonna now use the smaller knife. So you can just peel it right in. And it also comes down to how you hold the knife as well. So I'm just cutting all of my slits. All right, I'm going to switch knife because, again, I just gave this whole speech about using the knife that you feel most comfortable in. So this is my handy dandy knife, and now I'm just going to slice them. And as you can see, we get perfect little cubes, and I'm slicing them thinly as well. If I were to slice them a little bit bigger, we'll get bigger chunks, but I don't want bigger chunks in the ceviche. All right, so here we have, so I kept the root intact. So I didn't have all these pieces flying around, so I kept it nice and organized. So now we're going to take this, and we're just going to add it to the bowl. And I'm going to add the rest of the onions. Oops, so excited. This is really, really coming together. Edward Vargas says, Chef Zee, you meant to be on national TV. Thank you. That is so sweet. Oh my God. We have Jessica that says, I love your kitchen. Thank you. This was 100% a labor of love between my husband and I, because this was actually a DIY kitchen where we put it together. We built it together with my father-in-law. So now I've added the onions and peppers to the ceviche. So now I'm just going to grab the limes, which next to the shrimp are arguably the most important ingredient to this dish. Now, as you see me, like, I am massaging them. Now, it's super important right now with this heat. If your house gets like super hot, don't keep these outside because they're going to spoil and right away. Put them in the fridge. However, before you make this dish, you also want to bring them out a little bit, because you do want them to come up to room temperature, because it activates the juices in them, and these are like super juicy. I can just like tell just by like the little give that they have. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to slice these in half because we need quite a bit. Now, if you guys are wondering, do I need to use fresh limes or can I use the bottled lime to make ceviche? I'm going to tell you 100%. For a dish that is so simple and so fresh, go ahead and go the extra mile and use fresh limes, because you're definitely going to need it. And you're going to regret not using fresh limes. So just going to say a quick little prayer. I hope I don't have any little micro paper cuts on my fingers, because I don't know if you guys have been there, but when you juice a lime and you have like a little tiny cut on your hand, ooh, the way that is so painful. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to squeeze all of the limes. Now, I don't have to worry so much about this having seeds like lemon, so I just want to make sure to get every last bit of juice. We have Doanne Sherez, sorry if I said your name wrong, just got here. Thank you for joining us. We have Michelle that says, I made your pepper steak last night and have served it several times and have served several meats prepped for this week. Now I need to get some shrimp. Listen, you definitely want to serve this at your next barbecue, because it is just like the definition of summer. Oh my goodness. So Golden Glow says, I use those plastic cutting boards for certain things like shellfish and nuts. Yes, that's definitely the way to go. I have like several cutting boards here as well where they're like specifically for pork or specifically for red meat. And even back in the day when I used to cater, a long time ago, I don't cater anymore. Before I get people asking me about how I can cater your next event, we don't cater anymore. But back when I used to, that was also really big, like just disinfecting, keeping work clean stations. Honestly, just like prepping was like half the work. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys again for joining us today. For those of you guys who joined us a little bit late, we are making some fresh ceviche. We use some medium wild caught shrimp, but you can definitely use some large or jumbo shrimp instead. And then what we did was we made a little bit of like a lemon tea. All I did was take some fresh lemon, I sliced them up, I added some water. I should say this, you don't need to add a ton of water to the pot. I only added maybe like 3 or 4 cups. The less water you add, the stronger the lemon flavor in that water, which obviously then transfers into the shrimp. And the reason the lemon water transfers into the shrimp is because we actually poached it for no more than 2 minutes. As soon as those shrimp changed colors, we swirled them around and we took them out. Then I diced them up into pieces. And by the way, you can dice the shrimp up as big or as little as you like. It's totally up to you. And then to that, I diced up some different color bell peppers. I diced up a red one, a green one, and an orange one for color. Now you can, if you just have one, you totally, like say if you just have a green pepper, you can definitely use that. But again, because this is such a vibrant summer dish, I like to infuse as much color as possible. And now, and I also use a red onion, almost forgot to add that. And now I'm just taking some fresh lime and I'm squeezing it in to the ceviche. Now, the lime is arguably the most important step to this whole thing, because if you're skipping the poaching step, the lime is going to be the thing that cures and cooks the shrimp. So super important. And again, you definitely want to opt to use the fresh limes versus just like the bottled stuff. Honestly, I use the bottled stuff more than anything to clean my meats. I don't really use it too much to cook because the flavor is just not the same. And again, with a dish like this, where the freshness is the main ingredient, you always want to opt for something fresh, because the integrity of the ingredients that you're using is 100% going to be the thing that shines in the dish. So I've squeezed, I don't even know how many limes I squeezed at this point, probably like about 5 or 6, roughly at least like a cup or a cup and a half. You essentially want it to cover the shrimp. I'm gonna wash my hands real quickly, and then we're gonna go into a little bit more detail about how many limes I use and what to look out for if you're one of those people that likes to eyeball while you cook. So just a second while I clean my hands. I hope you guys are enjoying today's live stream. I know that this is definitely a dish that I love to make during the summer because it's just like so good. All right, so here we go. All right, so I want to show you, this is important because I have measurements down below, but sometimes things don't always work out perfectly. So I want to show you guys things to look out for if you want to eyeball this dish. Now, here we go. So here we have like the mound of like the onions and peppers, which disregard the mound right now. Really, the bottom layer has the shrimp. And if you look at the bottom layer, it is covered in that fresh lime juice, and that's definitely what we want. So I don't know if you guys can see that there. So the shrimp at the bottom of the bowl is completely covered in that fresh lime juice. And you can always, I always say when it comes to this, definitely keep some extra limes off to the side in case we have to add a little bit extra. So now to this, we're going to add some salt. Now I like to use some kosher salt. You guys know I'm a huge kosher salt. So we have Linda McKnight who says, thank you, chef. I have learned so much. We have Mi Vida Bellísima who says, I've been lazy before and just juice lime. Just don't do that to yourself. Deserve some fresh lime. Listen, it's happened to us all. So sometimes you got to use what you have at home, and that's totally fine. All right, so now I'm just going to add some kosher salt. Oh, so good. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of fresh black pepper, not too much. Oh, so nice. And now I'm just going to mix this together until it's well combined. Look at how beautiful and how vibrant This is, oh, that is amazing, 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 amazing. Now I'm just like patting it down because I want to see more or less like if we need a little bit more lime juice. And I'm actually going to go ahead and cut up 1 extra lime. I'm just, you know, 1 extra lime for good luck. 1 extra lime for good luck. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with that. So I'm just gonna cut this up. Now I know that there's a hack. Like for example, I was telling you guys earlier that it's really like it'll help you out if you actually take out your limes from the refrigerator and let them come up to room temperature. But if you're like running around, you're like, oh my god, se me está cogiendo la hora, like what to do, just pop them in the microwave for like 5 or 10 seconds at a time, and that'll activate the juices. That's also like another one. Now I remember one of the things that I got into so much trouble for when I was a kid was that I used to take the limes and I used to throw them around the house almost like a handball. And my grandmother caught me one time and whoo, I got into so much trouble. Let me tell you, my grandmother was not happy because you just don't like, first of all, you don't throw a ball around the house. You definitely don't throw fresh food around the house either. Michelle says, I feel like kosher salt always makes my food too salty. Can table salt work? So Michelle, here's the thing. Curious to know, number 1, table salt will actually make your food more salty because it's a finer salt. However, not all kosher salts are created equally. So I actually challenge you to look at the brand of kosher salt that you're using, and here's why. I am a diamond crystal kosher salt type of girl. Here we go. This is right here, live in the flesh. So this is the kosher salt that I use. I use diamond crystal, and I die hard diamond crystal. You can pretty much find it anywhere. Funny enough, you cannot find it on Amazon. It's been very, very hard to actually find it on Amazon. And as you guys know, I injured my foot a couple of weeks ago, so I've had to order a lot of my groceries online. Diamond crystal has actually been really difficult to find on the online grocery store. So my husband has had the fun task of going to the grocery store for me to actually find diamond crystal. They're actually very easy to find in person for some reason, just not online. I find that diamond crystal is the best kosher salt on the market to use. And funny enough, if you go to a lot of restaurants, this is the kosher salt that they're also using. It's just very all-purpose. So if you want to create like a nice crust on your steak, if you want to season your food, it really like just does the job. Morton salt, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing over there. No shade to Morton. I'm sure y'all are lovely people over there. But that salt, their kosher salt, whoo, it is super, 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 super salty. And I have had to like retrain myself, like on accident. Like when I have bought Morton salt before, I've had to almost like retrain myself to cook. And so all of my recipes, when I say kosher salt, just know that this is the kosher salt that I'm using. And for the most part, the food comes out pretty good. Table salt is okay to use. If that's what you have on hand, that's what you have on hand. But even with table salt, you have to train yourself with how to use it, because if it's not an equal to equal. Like for example, if a recipe calls for a tablespoon of kosher salt, it is not. You can't just put a tablespoon of table salt as well. The two are not like apples to apples comparison, so just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so I see people here that said like you buy different, like, so different brands of salt will salt your foods differently. It's the same thing with like table salt too, like depending on the brand that you use. It's also too, I always say this all the time, take a pinch and measure your pinches so that you know how large one of your pinches is. Like for example, I know that roughly one of my chef's pinches is about half a teaspoon. So I'm just mixing this together until it's well combined. And this is essentially almost done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some avocado. No se me olvidó el aguacate hoy. No ma'am, I did not forget the avocado today. And now, which knife do I want to use? We'll use this guy. So now, again, just like with the lime, let's hope I don't have a cut in my hand. Let's hope this guy looks good when I cut it. So I'm just gonna run my knife through this. Oh yeah, look at this. We got a perfect avocado. Oh, smells amazing. Okay, so couple of things. You guys actually have a couple of choices that you can make. So the first choice that you can make, we have a missing seed. So one of the things that you can do is you can actually wait until you serve your ceviche to add the avocado, or you can put it right when you make it, because this isn't ready right now. You actually have to put it in the refrigerator for a little bit. And pretty much what I'm doing is I'm just making little cubes in the avocado, and now I'm just going to like squeeze it right in there. Nice. Nice. Get that in there. Same thing with this. I'm going to make little cubes. And you can cut this as big or as little as you want. Now the other thing that you can do, if you don't want to squeeze it, you can take your spoon and run it, and it comes out perfectly. So exciting! And now we're just going to like very gently, like just fold that in there. So good. Oh my goodness. Michelle says that is not the one that she has. Gonna go try it ASAP. I'm telling you, go give it a try. Oh my goodness. We have Baby J online says that you tried that Morton salt on some tacos and you found out real quickly that the thing was super salty. You said I need to get some. Yeah, a lot of people agree. I don't know. Morton's super salty, but you know what's not super salty? This right here. This looks divine. Let me actually grab a spoon. I actually want to try how this came out. I don't know, but hopefully this doesn't come off the wrong way, but I'm like low-key more excited over the avocado in the ceviche than the shrimp itself, because I haven't been able to get a good avocado for so long. I think we've been doing these live streams for what, like almost 2 months, and this is the first time that I actually have a good avocado. And it's funny that it's for the ceviche. Oh, all right, let's try this. A ver, ¿cómo me quedó? ¿Cómo me quedó? I almost blew on it like it was hot. Oh. Babe, try a piece. That is super, super good. Those avocados are perfect. So good. Okay. So this is pretty much done. What you want to do next is you want to cover this and you want to put it in the refrigerator and you want to let it chill. Now, because I actually poached the shrimp and the shrimp is essentially cooked. Wait, what happened?
Jessie Bell.
Jessie Bell said, RIP to the little piece of avocado that stood in the... Oh my goodness. This little piece right here? Oh, okay, well. You guys have some really good eyes. I love that. Look at that. Well, you know, no man left behind. We're just going to add that little bit of avocado. That's hilarious. We got some other little cubes here, you know. Pa no gastar comida. Pa no gastar comida. Now, what I was saying is, so I actually want this to chill just a little bit because ceviche is served chill. That's when it tastes its best. Now, because I cheated and poached my shrimp, this is actually ready to go today. So this is something that you can actually make in the morning and then serve it in the afternoon of your barbecue as long as it's chilled. And you can also let it chill overnight. Now, right before I serve it, and after it's chilled, I go in and I just sprinkle a little bit of cilantro to give it that freshness. I'm not going to do it right now because if I do it right now, the cilantro is going to like brown. It's not going to have as flavorful, and it's going to, excuse me, I don't want the lime to get too much to my cilantro, so I'm going to do that right before I actually serve it. And unfortunately, I have this here because I had every intention. This is a mango, one of my top 5 favorite fruits in life. So this is a mango, and one of the things that I also love to do is actually add some fresh mango to this. This mango is not ready, so I lucked out. I had an avocado that was ready today, but I have a mango that's not quite yet ready. So if you can get your hands on a super ripe mango, que ya está listo, that is ready, go ahead, dice up a few cubes of the mango, and right before you serve it, key, just like the cilantro, right before you serve it, cut up a little bit of the mango and add it to the cilantro. It's going to add a little bit of sweetness to the ceviche that is like, you did that, okay? It's like people are going to be like, wait a minute. What's that? How you did that? That mango really, really takes it over the top. Now, this mango is not ready. And the reason I don't want to add it is because mangoes that are not ripe are tart and they're sour. And there's enough tartness and sourness going in on, like already going on. So it's not going to really be adding anything as far as flavors. It might add a little bit as far as texture, but even that, if it's too under, it's going to be too tough and it's not going to be palatable. But I did want to mention this because you failed us. You were supposed to go into this delicious recipe, but I get it. It just means I get to enjoy it on its own later on. So just want to see what you guys are talking about in the group chat before we sign off for today. Oh, Yesenia says, what does this dish pair good with? Amen that you asked that, because I realized I almost forgot to say. So one of the things that this dish pairs amazing with, outside of avocados, is you get some Tostitos chips. So I don't know if you guys do it, you know, you guys have people over and you just put some chips and salsa out just to kind of keep, people busy while you're preparing the rest of the food. So it goes really good with that. My all-time favorite thing to pair it with is actually plátano chips. So some plantain chips or mariquitas. All you do is you take a mandolin slicer, very careful with those fingers. You slice up the plátanos, you fry them up, and ceviche with plátano chips and avocado, you have not lived, my friend. You have not lived. You can also pair this with some tostones. Keep in mind, these are my absolute favorite pairings with them. Something a little bit starchy, so either some fried tortillas, some fried plátanos, or even some fried tostones. Amazing. Another thing that you can do is, once this is ready, you can actually add some like plain pasta to it, and you can turn this into a shrimp ceviche pasta salad that people go absolutely gaga and crazy for, because there's so much citrus in it. There's no mayonnaise in it. It's so light and so much more refreshing than pasta salad with mayonnaise. And you guys know my philosophy, if you watch my 3 summer salads video, is that usually at a barbecue you're gonna find potato salad, you're gonna find something with mayonnaise in it. So it's always fun to bring something with a little bit of citrus just to balance it out. We have Carmen with the super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. So Rhea says, LOL, glad to know that I wasn't the only one who noticed that little bit of forgotten avocado. Yo, shout out to you guys for looking out for that forgotten piece of avocado. Y'all said not today. We have been waiting for some avocado, and we're gonna get it all today. So I love y'all for that. Francisco says, I'm Ecuador and I have been eating ceviche all my life and it looks amazing, and I'm making that tonight for dinner, and you should try fish ceviche. So again, thank you for that comment, because when I tell you that there's a ton of different ways of actually making ceviche, and I'm so happy that you made that comment, because yes, so the version that I'm making right here is some shrimp ceviche. I'm actually going to be serving this later this evening. We're going to have a couple of people over, so I'm going to chill it, and they are more used to eating some shrimp ceviche, but you can definitely add fish ceviche. And I love the fact that like different cultures have different ways of making ceviche. Like the Peruvians, for example, they add a little bit of the tiger's milk to it. They add these like super chunky pieces of corn, and oh, it is divine, divine, divine. You can also get creative and you can add different flavors to it. I've had some spicy ceviches before. I've even had ceviche where, for example, they add a little bit of clamato to it, and it also tastes amazing. So this is definitely like a baseline ceviche that you can make that gets the job done. You can jazz it up and add a little bit of mango to it, and again, it takes it to the next level, and it won't disappoint. So, whew. So Yesenia says, shrimp ceviche pasta salad sounds amazing. It definitely is. Give it a try. I do it all the time. I haven't done it, I want to say, within like the last like year or so. But if you have some seafood eaters in your life, then I definitely say to give it a try. So I think that's it for you guys today. This is, again, shrimp ceviche, one of my favorite ways of making it. It's so good. I'm going to sneak a little bite in this. Oh, so excited. So you know it's exciting. Technically the ceviche is not done, and I'm over here like sneaking in a piece. All right, on my way. Y'all know my little happy dance when it comes time to eat. Here we go, here we go. One thing before I let you go. You can even put this in a sandwich. This actually reminds me a lot of the tuna fish salad that I made. A little Tabasco on there. We are talking a little sangria on the side. By the way, this is like the menu that I'm serving this evening, so I'm also making sangria because it's going to pair really well with this. But I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Be safe. Stay cool. Thank you guys so much for joining us during our lunchtime live stream. Don't go too far. We will be back on Tuesday at 7 p.m. with another delicious recipe. Be on the lookout this weekend because I will be posting what we're making. Like always, I like to post ahead of the time the recipe and the dish that we're making so that anybody wants to cook along, we can. I have a playlist where all of these live streams are saved. There are so many other yummy recipes here on my channel. So until next week, I'm Chef Zee y buen provecho. Oh, so good.